Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you America's top foundational health coach, Dr. Joe D.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm Dr. Jody Baird, known as America's top foundational health coach. But right now, I am your host, and I am so grateful that we've created such a tribe, which is definitely our vibe. What do we have? This is our 4th year of doing life's milkshake moments. Yes, life is like a milkshake. Choose your ingredients wisely, and when you do, life will be oh so sweet. 4 years ago, we were in lockdown with COVID and we were choosing our ingredients wisely. What were we going to do with the rest of our lives if we even had a life? Well, as many of you know, and you, my great audience, know that for 46 years prior to COVID, what was I doing? I was taking one life, one health, which, as Dr. Jim Marinakis and I talk about all the time, we would love to be people's first resort rather than their last resort. But I was a holistic practitioner and nutritionist. 45 years, people came to me, they lost weight. 35,000 client patients over this time lost 1.1 million pounds of toxic fat loss. But you know what? They did it naturally. They did it the optimal way with 5% recidivism. Then COVID happened. I sold my practice prior to COVID. And what was I going to do? Well, we had those babies out there from birth to weight loss to what are we going to do to help mortality? That's what I looked at. But I was retired. What was I going to do? Well, I told my husband then, I'm not doing this. I'm done. I'm retired. And he looked at me and said, and it's very interesting. You can hear in the studio right now, there's thunder and lightning going on because it was that kind of a thunderous approach that he said to me, just how much yoga are you going to do? You know what? I spread my wings just like this dress. And I said, I can. I had done this so many times in my life to create those milkshake moments. Those milkshake moments in my life, as you know, when I was paralyzed from the shoulders on down, and I said I would walk. That was brain training, mind over matter. Then having that situation with stage 4 melanoma, it was mind over matter. I said, I will thrive and be well 25 years ago. And who did I find along the way? I attracted the incomparable, the one and only world-renowned homeopath, naturopath, acupuncture physician, and teacher of physicians, my own Dr. Jim Marinakis. That's what I attracted in my life. And it all was those life's milkshake moments after another. So if you're sitting out there saying, it's September, we're almost in the 4th quarter, what am I going to create for myself right here and right now? Well, tonight on Life's Milkshake Moment, we are going to do this because it's September 11th. Y'all, we will know what 9/11 will be. And for us, each and every time it happens, we just do. But the people that decided to go ahead and create more of a life around that made all the difference as well. Now, didn't you? And frankly, that's what we're going to do. It doesn't matter what you do. You create your flavor of ice cream, you put your whipped cream on top, and you do with heart, passion, purpose, and courage what you are meant to do. Because life is only in the now. And since I did mention 9/11, I want to just take a pause and honor everyone. You know where you were at that moment. Now, don't you? You know where you were. But it's where time meets destiny. Miracles happen because many to that day went to work. But guess what they did? They ascended and graduated to heaven. So it's all the perspective. It's all how you look at it. You can make triumph over tragedy. You can do what you were meant to do in this world. So let's do it today. How we do it in Life's Milkshake Moment, we do it with the 6 pillars of holistic life healing, healthy living, Starts with spiritual. And then you go to mental. It's the mind. We're going to be talking about the mind with our combat brain trainer today. Then we go in to emotional, physical, financial, and social. When you have all six, I've got to give you a rhyme, y'all. You can do any trick. But right now, I'm going to say, I want to go forward and just honor somebody that has no tricks, but she has every trick of the trade. One of our sponsors, Dame Doria Cordova. Y'all know that we're going to Greece. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. But before you do Amazing Greece, go ahead and check Dame Doria Cordova out. A disciple of Buckminster Fuller, Dame Doria created a one-of-a-kind experiential experience. That's all. A symposium, a seminar. Money and You is the longest reigning and lasting experiential training of its kind. Money and You will be back in San Diego the 17th or the 21st. Then you just hop a plane the next week and join us in Greece. We have 3 seats remaining, and one of those seats will be the right seat if you're the right person for you. But in the meantime, take a look, take a feel, take a listen to my great, great friend, the one and only Dame Doria Cordova of Money and You. And underneath the commercial, you will see the registration. You can still get a substantial discount. Here you go.
Money and You is the longest running entrepreneurial, experiential, transformational training in the world. And we have been impacting the lives of over 200,000 graduates from over 85 countries since 1979. I am Doria Cordova and I own Money and You. And I would like to invite you to join us to the next program where you will have an opportunity to be with a group of people that will all be immersed in experiential games where you have an opportunity to clear any blocks that you may have to really creating wealth and doing good. But at the same time, learn the business success model, which really immerses you into a conversation about leverage. Leverage is key in creating wealth and doing good. And we have the results to show that this program works. People like Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Ben Cohen of Ben and Jerry's, and many others have attended this program and changed their lives and created new industry and are some of the most well-known change makers in the world. Thank you. Aloha. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Aloha. Bye-bye. Just such a gooey and gracious woman, Dame Doria Cordova of Money and You. The next Money and You, as I said, is September 17th to 21st. And if you go ahead and just scan that Money and You code, scene.isrefer.com -go-exp-dee. She didn't want Joe D on it. You can get $500 off of your tuition. Dame Doria, I know it's going to be a one-of-a-kind experience because you're a one-of-a-kind lady. But let's get into this one-of-a-kind and the one and only Dr. John Kenedy. I will guarantee you that your brains are going to fly like my sleeves when you hear from him today. It is truly a mind-blowing experience from him. And yes, it's quite the resume and it's quite the biography, but I want to give him his due. Dr. John Kenedy is a neuroplastician. That's enough when you have a title that is more than one syllable after his words. He's an Amazon International best-selling author, but John spent much of his life understanding systems, building better mousetraps, and having some of the world's largest companies at his beck and call because his brains outlive that ginormous hair that he has. For sure. This was his life's milkshake moment in 2007. His life took a significant turn. It's like my good friend, Dr. Nefertina Serrano. She is authored in both of our books. And Dr. Nefertina says, when time meets destiny, miracles happen. Well, it happened to John as well. His innovative approach to harmoniously train this brain and body just now became, during that time, combat brain training. Why combat? Because he was called out by the U.S. Marine Corps. The Marines, I guess he knew his stuff. So he created and forged an entirely new and powerful approach to this brain training. And it improved individuals, even the Navy SEALs, sea-level teams, of course, and companies. Well, he certainly did a demo on me last night, and it was wonderful. But he has helped countless people. I think of what is said in The Secret, that if you create value, your income will follow. He has supported individuals with ADHD, autism, dementia, depression, anxiety, helped with longevity and stroke victims. All of these, from high performance athletes, military, to just people that needed a little handout. So John, as I said, has trained in military leadership, sports, business, and the mental health conferences. He is a sought after speaker. I can say I sought him out when I met him last year, about this time last August. We connected in a soulful level. And now it is my pleasure to launch our 4th season of Life's Milkshake Moments here on Health-A-Pedia channel on YouTube with the incomparable, the one and only, not President Kenedy, not Senator Kenedy, but Dr. John Kenedy over there in Las Vegas. Welcome, John.
Thank you so much, Jody. Boy, that's the best intro I've ever had. You were amazing. That was incredible.
Oh, that has been said about me before. I just get excited about my guests because it's what we bring into the world. I mean, let's face it, John. The thing that I know is when we talk about this, and John F. Kennedy said, you know, what is it? All ships rise. And it starts in the brain, it starts in manifesting in the mind, and that's what you've done. So don't you think we ought to, speaking of giving a great introduction, let's just give Tony Doty a big shout out for introducing us in Las Vegas.
Absolutely. Yes, yes.
What do you remember that introduction, John?
Well, you know, Tony, he knows everybody, right? He's such a master of connecting people because he sees even behind what they see, right? And he makes the connections, and he connected us, and it was just the atmosphere, just being surrounded by so many positive people, so well-connected people, and then meeting you, we had a great conversation. Your energy is infectious. So I was drawn to you right away, and we just kind of sharing different stories and different things, and it just kind of was a match made in heaven. So I remember that.
I remember the very same thing, because we were talking when you get, y'all, we're just having a conversation here. Okay. And so if you want to join on in audience, you just do right ahead. But I remember it's like, and I remember Tony tapped me on the shoulder. He goes, Dr. Jody, we need to go. I said, well, John, you've got to come in. It's like I knew you forever. So Thank you for being my guest. Thank you for launching our 4th season. Who knew? With a woman who was behind brick and mortar, would be click and order, didn't even have a website, would be having a 4-year-long running TV show. Who knew? But it was parsable in, I guess, in my brain. So I know that you just didn't start out and find your passion. Oh, well, honey, I'm going to do my lifelong mission in the brain. How did that start out?
Well, it's interesting. So as you mentioned before this, I was a very sought out consultant for big companies. So big companies have really big problems, and I was kind of like the problem solver. They bring me in, and I would get their projects back on place. Really, really big projects, like you guys remember Y2K, right? Back in those days.
Exactly.
So the entire Y2K transition for one of the divisions of Motorola, right? So I had to get them back on track. Along the way, I realized that, to me, the core of everything is about process, how we use process. So we use it physically, we use it mentally, and we use it in our brain. And so I was at an event the Marines held every year back then. It was 2007. And the biggest threat to our warriors are IEDs, improvised explosive devices.
Yes.
And the key to surviving is intuition. If they can anticipate some sort of dangerous signal sooner, they get a chance to survive. So shaking hands with General Doug Stone, the base commander, and God just gave you this intuition. What if I could do the same thing for the brain that I was doing for businesses, for their operations? Wow. And I thought, wow, instead of helping businesses make more money, maybe I could help save lives. So that was a hypothesis. General Stone helped me get my first contract, which was incredible. No one had ever done this before. And basically, I had a big experiment. So we had a platoon of 40 guys, control group, and then the experiment group I work with. These guys were really suffering from post-traumatic stress, 3 attempted suicides. I vetted with them. I developed my exercises. I can tell a little more how they work. You experienced a little bit last night, but they were designed not based on psychological or neuroscience research at the time, but basically on a consulting basis. How do we make changes really, really fast in the brain? So 3 months later, those same platoon of guys were now the best platoon in the battalion, and one of the best to ever go through final pre-deployment training. And that's when it spread, as you said, Navy SEALs, snipers, pilots. And so now in the civilian world, by making our brains better, everything goes through our brains. So making the brains faster, more focused, we improve high performers like entrepreneurs and professional athletes, as well as people with some of the disorders you mentioned, ADHD, autism, strokes, dementia, and so forth.
Well, and I just want to come back to one thing, because I know that you know this, like you're unconscious competent, but I just really want my audience to just reel this back a minute and think, okay, he was making more money for companies. You think John was making a lot of money? Of course he was. But you said something was so important there, John. You said, what if I could do the same thing to save lives? Yeah. I mean, that to me, it wasn't about making this training for the Marines. That was your life's milkshake moment, wasn't it?
Yes. And, it's such a motivating factor, as you know. I mean, we want to do good in the world, right? And in the world. And so even now in the civilian sector, so if I can help a CEO or an entrepreneur get more done, less time, spend more time with his family, then his life is better. We have just worked with a young autistic man the other day, and in one session, his entire life changed. We have an amazing testimony from his father. So his pathway in life now is going to be more positive than it was before. So for the rest of his life now, he's going to be on a different trajectory. So, that's what keeps us going, right? Our ability to help other people really exceed their expectations and really transform their lives.
Yes, and with doing that, and we're going to get into this. We're going to get into this because guess what? I've now got my arrows, and my arrows are on my refrigerator. My goodness, you've made. I just feel like whipping out like the monkey saying, "I'm a believer." Oh yeah. I am a believer in the system because of who you are, John, but it really, really worked. And we're going to come back to this in just a moment, but I want to share with people. I said we're going to Greece, and everybody knows we're going to Greece, but we're not going to do Greece right here and right now. We've got another book launch. I am honored and humbled, John, to say that this will make me a 78-time best-selling author and a 13-time publisher of being Amazon bestseller. This is our cadre. And it started. That was my life's milkshake moment. 4 years ago, I just decided to take my dissertation and write a pedestrian copy. I didn't know what I was doing. Kind of like you didn't know what you were doing out there, but you were going to forge something that was new, a better mousetrap. And it was my pedestrian version of my dissertation, the 21 Days to Your Best You. We've got the 2 anthologies, Health-A-Pedia, trended on Google for 72 hours. And I had that after PhD. You've got one of those, right, John?
Yes.
Yes. That PhD. Well, I had 3 other initials, and it said DKS. Didn't know, what the word was. But right. We trended for three days on Google, and then we sold out with on the essence of a woman, then Tony Doty, big shout out to you again, Tony.
Always.
Knows a gazillion people. This was the introduction. I'm going to read. I'm going to just give this. This is sometimes the Tony Doty introduction. I'm sitting on his couch and he goes, "Here, talk to Eric." Hi, Eric. I had no idea, because that's one of those milkshake moments when time meets destiny, miracles happen. Well, we were honored to do Beauty and the Best. John, Beauty and the Best, because he's a quote master, 45,000 quotes. Do you know that Beauty and the Best is still Amazon bestseller 9 months later? And in 3 categories. Then we did for President Trump and his inauguration, the Little Mega Quote Book for the Big American Dream Inauguration Division. That was because of that connection of one. And now we have come together with Eric Zender's quintessential quotes for healthy living. And what is it? It's quintessential quotes and quips, quotes to emote and quips to equip you. And he talks about this book. It is a latte book. It is a perfect blend of cream and caffeine. You open up a quote, don't you? And you see this, quote. And what do you see? You see something you can read in the middle of a page and you'll remember it. Then the stories equip you for later. Well, I'm here to tell you that Eric, with this book, hit Amazon bestseller in 2 hours. By the time I was up and finished my exercise at 9 a.m., Eric Zender has become an Amazon bestselling author again with this book. So big shout out to Eric. It's just really true. When you have the right people around you, you do amazing things. And John, you are one of these right people. I am so honored that we're here doing this deal. We're doing the brain deal. So I want to just go over my experience yesterday. And I love what you say in, we always talk about the F word. Well, John has an F word, that F word that's good. It's fast, focus, and what's the third F?
Flow state. Get us into flow state.
Yes, yeah. Flow state. I knew you would pass your own branding. So that's why I just whipped that on. Yes, to the flow state. And you showed that to me with the infamous arrows. So how did you come up with this? We know that he just is uber smart. Well, I'm going to do this with the Marines. And you probably are a man, so you didn't wear my sleeves. I wore this just for you because after I did the arrows, I felt like I could fly. It was just
Thank you. Well, it's interesting. And technically, I'm not a PhD, as I said. Actually, this all came from my consulting background as a problem solver. And I get asked the question, why that very, very simple symbol? When we first developed it, I knew that the core of everything we do is our ability to make decisions, executive function. And if we can improve executive function to be faster, and that will improve our focus, and then we can get into flow state. And so we experiment with lots of different marine type symbols, but then you have to learn them. I wanted something that you didn't have to learn, you just react to.
Like that's the arrow.
Yeah, exactly. That's why. My daughter was 5 at the time when I developed this. I wanted her to be able to do it, which is why we work with kids 5, 6 years old, as well as Navy SEALs and older people. And if you remember what we do with that very, very simple symbol, it looks disarming, right? It's so simple, right? But when you make your brain work harder, we engage more parts of the brain, and those create stronger neural connections instantaneously. That was the research it was based on. So that's why your speed of processing time got significantly better after just 40 minutes, 45 minutes.
And 45 minutes. And I can tell you, he's just scratched the scratch with this 45-minute demo. I'm so grateful that you did this, but I was tense. I was nervous and I had to relax. So I watched the rest of the Ravens Buffalo Bills game, which was really not relaxing. I had a hard time getting to sleep after we did that. But it was so amazing that you could take an arrow right, left, down, up, down, over and around and make that happen. So if you're thinking, okay, this is an unsolicited advertisement. I do not get paid for this. If you have somebody who has ADHD, somebody with autism, 1 in 10 children, unfortunately now, a senior that needs to up their game in their brain waves, John is the man who can. Go to combatbraintraining.com. I will be your unsolicited, shameless self-promoter. You made me a believer. Like I said, I've already sang to you. So you get the deal. So how did you then take the arrows into, and I want 3 different examples. How did you take it to the military? I mean, they probably looked at you like, we're doing arrows? We don't do bow and arrows. Yeah. Didn't they?
Well, exactly. So when I started this, if I had gotten General Stone's, push you to get in there, all the other programs were psychology based, which is the mind. Very powerful. There's a lot of mindset and powerful and stuff. But no one had ever heard of what I did. In fact, I actually created a whole new field called applied neuroplasticity to develop this. And so, but Marines, I love Marines, right? If it helps, let's do it.
Semper Fi.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. And because they're out there putting their lives on the line. And so this one battalion commander said, because we also did it before and after cognitive skills test. And my guys did significantly better, went from worst to the best on that. But the colonel said, I don't care what the tests say. I don't care what the eggheads in Orlando say. If these guys aren't better, you're out of here. So difficult.
Oh, that was some stress.
Yeah, and they were.
No pressure.
And they went from worst to best. And then the XO of that battalion took over a battalion of Special Operations Marines. He brought me in right away, worked with his leadership team, and all his guys were deploying. And then it spread to SOCOM, and it spread to to all throughout the military based on reputation, because so quickly we could make a difference. Now here's something. So a concept that everybody should understand is this amazing ability God gave us of our brains to change stimulation called neuroplasticity.
Everything. And what is neuroplasticity? Give us a pedestrian definition.
Yeah. So the best, if anybody wants to read a book about this, Norman Doidge's The Brain That Changes Itself is what I got this from to start with. Basically, everything that we repeat, everything we do, think, or say, if we repeat it, that starts to form the ruts in our brain. That's why positive self-talk is so important. Right, that's why practice is so important.
Like Eric's quotes.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You have to.
You've been searching for has been within you all along. When you say that about 3 times, you're going to have courage.
Yes, exactly. Well, and that's true. And so, but there's 3 different levels of that. So I kind of liken it for people that to understand this is like your computer, right? So your computer has different applications. You have your accounting, you have your games, you have your browser. And you can upgrade each one of those, but it doesn't necessarily impact everything else. That's the procedural level of neuroplasticity. So we would call that, muscle memory, right? You throw a ball 10,000 times, you're going to get better. Doesn't mean you're a better salesperson or mathematician, but you're good at that one thing. But you're there because the brain is repeating. Now, the operating system is very powerful for our computers, and that's where all the mind programs are. Mindfulness, positive mental aspects, manifestation, meditation, that is all the mind part. And again, when you practice, you get better at it because you're repeating it. But the fastest way to improve your operating system in every single application is just get a new computer because the processor's faster.
Sure.
And that's where so when I make the processor faster, psychologically, they improve tremendously, more confidence, better meditation, everything else. And then everything they do, whether it's throwing a baseball or driving a car or being a better spouse, all those things also improve because everything flows through our brains. And that's why, I mean, I have thousands of testimonials of amazing things you wouldn't expect from people doing this.
So, I mean, of course, you have thousands upon thousands upon thousands. Give us just an example, a concrete example. Marine A, he takes this test. He's going to be Semper Fi. And then I want to give my experience even from the first to the second. Give us just an example.
I'll give you 3 examples. So one, I'll give you Marine, right? So these Marines were really suffering post-traumatic stress, failing. After the training, they were one of the best, not only the best Marines in that unit to go through their testing, but when they went over to Iraq, they're given an area 3 times the normal size and capture the most insurgents. I still hear from some of those Marines. They still thank me for what it's still changing their life. Here's another one, a young boy with ADHD. This poor boy, very bright, couldn't focus in school. They didn't want to put on medication. I started working with him. After 3 sessions, his time, that speed drill you did, it went from almost 3 minutes down to a minute. And he got his first day ever in school. A few weeks later. What did that
do for his self-esteem? I get an A. I must be someone. When you kept saying through the test, don't stop or try to undo your mistake, then you're training your brain right then. You just keep going no matter what.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I think I mentioned we're creating that anticipation. The Olympic skier I trained a few years ago who could ski much faster without falling, because all the decisions are now made unconsciously, even though she's going 100 miles an hour. She doesn't have to think about it. And so this young boy, you know, a few sessions later, he got Student of the Month award. And most revealing was I was working with his grandmother for some dementia issues. She said she saw him at his birthday party. He got a book, sat down and read it to her. He never could have done that before. So his life is on a different trajectory. And then another one that's kind of fun.
Focused. And when you get in flow state, just like I'm going to just bring this up. This is my quote from our Essence of a Woman book. Immerse yourself in the flow of who you are and how you are becoming. When you immerse yourself in that flow, magic happens. So give us the last example, please.
So last example will be for an athlete, right? We have a lot of athletes. So one of my favorites, Kat Perez, she's one of the top women goalies in the world now. I started working with her 3 years ago before practicing for the World Cup. She was an alternate. I got connected through a friend. Very quickly, she became a starter. She helped them win the South American, or they finished second to Brazil. Never done that before in the South American tournament. She helped their team get all the way to the quarterfinals in the World Cup. No one had ever expected it. And now she, actually a couple of weeks ago, she was in the South American tournament again, and she called me. So I would work with her, give her some special exercises every time before she played. We have a very special one that I developed to her to stop penalty kicks. So the basic training is the same, but then we customize it for each. We customize it for leaders. We customize it for athletes. We customize it for salespeople, for parents. Whatever their goal is, the last part is customized to make all those connections neurologically that they need to be successful, to be stronger and faster.
Stronger, faster, better, be in the flow, be there. And I can certainly say that, like I said, I am your biggest fan, and it really is. It really is true that it worked. I could tell because, I've got a couple of 2 or 3 degrees, like 5 master's degrees, and one in NLP and psychoneurolinguistics. So I know the deal. It's very interesting that when you come and do something new like this, I had to decide I'm the plumber. When I go to and get acupuncture, I don't try to tell him which meridians to use. It's just one of those things, because go to John, somebody who needs to get a problem fixed. You also, but you're going to be on a wait list. Companies that need to be better, stronger, just like what we're doing in Greece. So we're going to have a little fun now as we're going to Greece. You real brainiac guys, you don't exactly like the cartoons, but this was my favorite thing that we did. Who knew? Except this was my life's milkshake moment. As I said, John, you know the story. Trained by Dr. Holder Clark, mentored by her, and I closed her, John, when I said to her, after she helped my son, who was 4.5, with her parasite protocol, and the headmaster in preschool, who gets kicked out of preschool? Why did they do that? Because he said he was a disturbing element. You know what he had said to me? They said I was a scurvy elephant, Mommy. Does that mean that I need vitamin C? Because it was already in kind of,
smart.
Right. But I said, your diagnosis is not your prognosis. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a child like that, I sought out Hulda Clark, manifested her in my life. And then while being mentored with her and to her, I wrote this goal card that said, I will penned the Eastern medical version of the PDR. Who knew? But our creator of all knew. And then here we are doing this book, having wide, crazy success with Health-A-Pedia, 190 people. Now, Greece, as you know, John, is different than what we did before, because we're going to immerse ourselves in a very intimate group, because this hub, as you know, those Navy SEALs changed the trajectory of whatever combat unit they were in when you immerse yourself in that flow. So I'm going to get to do this one more time and embarrass my teacher, trainer, mentor, and co-founder and partner, Dr. Jim Marinakis, with Health-A-Pedia 2. Take a look, take a listen.
We have, do what we do to get what we got. We were on the beach in Boca. Now where? We landed in Crete to recreate you in Crete, Greece. Retreat, renew, revive. Come alive, because energy creates vitality, which transcends into longevity. We're living proof.
That's great.
In Crete.
Great, great, great.
Health-A-Pedia 2, the magic of a Mediterranean autumn. September 29th through October 5th, 2025. A Health-A-Pedia experience and life transformation in 6 pillars of health: spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, financial, and social. One pillar at a time. A renewal retreat, cradled in wisdom of the ancients, energetically emerging within the azure Mediterranean seas. This life-changing experience nestled in romantic Grecian Isle of Crete. Dip your feet into the blue waters of the Mediterranean Sea. Retreat, restore, revive, recreate. Feel the waters of life return to you. Restore your living soul. This is the chance of a lifetime. What you experience as you return home, how your energy and vitality of the inner you benefits. That will reward you for all the days of your life. Lose yourself in the history of Greece. Come find yourself at Knossos, the cradle of Western civilization. Because this is where your new story begins.
And here we are. I am just so excited about this, because these 30, as I told John, as I told you, I told Dr. Jim, I said, there was a guy that walked the earth and he only needed 12, but I'm not going to. So that's why we did 30. We've got these beautiful exposés out there on TikTok. I have no idea, except I had a company one time, John, that it was Creative Solutions with a K. Well, Calypso spelled with a K. That's how we picked it. So, hey, it's going to be great. And see, because it's that mind. It's that mind. And whether you're going to be with us in Greece or when we go in first quarter to Aruba, be a part of this. And John, I know you will be. I know you will be, because you're my vibe. We feel that vibe. I love it. And we're back to the arrows now.
Yeah, right.
Back to the arrows, and make sure, and back to just giving Eric some launch on his book. It's really good. So the combat training, what I'm going to just put me on the spot here for just a minute. What did you notice about my the way I did my analysis? Because, ladies and gentlemen, you know me as Dr. Jody. Give me your analysis of me. I'd love to hear.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you asked, because you went through what almost everybody does. If you remember, the hardest thing for most people is not to stop to fix mistakes. You get very self-conscious, right? We have especially performance anxiety, all these things. And yet that holds us so back. I had a woman start crying once when I told her that. So my whole life I was told to be perfect. When you can free yourself from that. And so in the very first one, you kind of made some mistakes. The second one, you apologize, right? Because you were tired or whatever, right? But what I didn't tell you before. So the whole thing, if you notice, is I ask you to do something kind of simple, and then you really struggle at the top, but by the bottom, you're getting into flow.
The flow, get it up.
Amazing. That's
Got this. Yes.
This type of stimulation, according to the MIT research, changes the brain immediately. That's why in 25 minutes you were doing things you couldn't do when we started. But what's interesting was after that second one, and everybody makes mistakes. I didn't tell you that beforehand, right? You feel self-conscious. But by the time we got to the fourth one, where you had to anticipate, and then we had the translation at the end, you were so smooth because the first three decisions were now starting to get into flow. Yes. And then we make it harder each time. That makes your brain work harder. We bring in more parts of your brain. And then we get your hands involved. So now all four lobes, both hemispheres simultaneously, and memory. So if you think about it, all those connections throughout your brain are critical to whatever you do. And wherever they're weaker before we started, now they're stronger. They're stronger. And you start to notice things in the real world. And that becomes your new normal. One of the things about this, again, we've had so many neuroscientists help us with this. Most over here, well, I want to bring what one of them said for sure, because one of the things we were talking about is longevity.
Yes.
So one of the neuroscientists from Harvard said, this is the most powerful anti-aging program I've ever seen. And I asked him why. And he said, because we're flooding the brain with blood, right? And so one of the reasons we lose our memory when we get older is the capillaries that feed our neurons dry out, and then the neurons
and the telomeres, and your brain shrinks, and this does the absolute reverse. Mm-hmm.
Right, and you probably could feel it, right? You could probably. Yes, that's the brain, the blood, which is huge. It's very powerful for longevity, and obviously, because what makes it unique is because we're using all parts of your brain to interface with the real world, including your hands. Now, for athletes, we engage your feet and everything else. Now we're improving your performance. So it's not just your brain that's faster, it's the brain-body connections that are faster. And of course, the intelligence, right? You're processing more information faster. So those three areas all really will improve pretty quickly by just practicing and going through the program.
Because practice makes perfect with not perfect practice, because nobody's perfect.
Right. Nobody's perfect. That's why you let yourself go. And the cool thing is, even if you're making mistakes, you're making your brain work hard, and it's making the connection stronger.
And it all flows. It all flows. And so, John, I mean, there are, I always have a way of giving an alliteration, but John, you are a gem. You're a gem to this world. It's very beautiful to be around someone who has heightened intelligence, but has a passion. When I was out and had the honor with Tony's group, being one of the people that is in his latest movie, The Art of Manifestation. Okay. Yeah. And we were in the Hamptons, and I had the auspicious just honor of meeting Jerome Corsi, okay, who really prevented World War III. All right. And I'm not going to get political, but this man, this icon, 79 years old, okay, and told the truth, was sitting there thinking, and what he said, John, he said, I knew my brain had to be strong, because they could throw me into prison for the rest of my life.
Right.
And locked the key. When he came down from the stage, I just happened to be when time meets destiny. It was a life's milkshake moment there. I said, rarely, and I'll put you in the same category, rarely do you get a man who has such intelligence, purpose, heart, and courage. This took courage to leave a kind of a cushy kind of, I'm doing this thing for a business consultant to forge out, and yay, your wife said yay, she was going to support you and all of that. Yeah. Then you go into this place of, even personally, as I have traversed this year with now in 2 weeks will be the first anniversary of my husband graduating to heaven, that you were there. That's that passion and purpose that you have of caring. So I know that this trajectory of what we are colliding like yin and yang with what you are doing, what we're doing with Health-A-Pedia, and what we're doing to make this world a better place is only just the beginning, John. So if people want to find you, they want to find you, obviously Combat Brain Training. Do you have anything when they go to your website, you sign up, you take a test? What do you have there?
Well, actually, I do have a free gift for people, and it's kind of fun. So the same approach that I've taken to making a brain change really fast, it's unique, nobody else does it this way, I've also applied to habits. We all have habits we want to break, right? Habits. So I wrote a book, it's called Hack Your Habits in 30 Minutes, Not 30 Days. So if they want to email me, so John at Combat Brain Training is my email. I love to use email. They can email me directly and ask, I will give them a PDF copy of my book. It's a very short book, but if they follow what's in that book, I guarantee you that they'll be able to change any bad habit or take on any new good habit that they want. I've been doing this for years now with my coaching clients and at the conferences I speak at. So yeah, John at combatbraintraining.com. Don't forget the brain. Some people say combat training. I don't train combat. I train brains for combat. Right. So
combatbraintraining.com. Here we go. Yes. I've got it up there. I've got it.
And then if they email me at john at combatbraintraining.com.
Yep. There we go.
Yeah, perfect. I like to say, this was developed for the warfighter, but we all have battles to win.
Right. There we go.
And so it helps us. Yeah. Thank you. Perfect. And then just mention the book and I'll send them a PDF copy of the book.
And John, I mean, and I want to just give you just one more flower here before we wind this up, because but I know that you have one more thing. I want you to just let your last piece of wisdom go for our audience. Would you please?
I guess, one of the messages I like to leave people with is hope, right? No matter where you are in life, there are people like you and people like me that can help them overcome. I mean, like you, I've helped people overcome so many things where they thought they were in depression, strokes, whatever it is. We can help them overcome that and actually start to live the life that they really, really desire to exceed their expectations. So I love to leave that message of hope to people.
Well, and there are no coincidences, because this is how we're starting out our retreat in Greece. And you heard me. I'm known as Dr. Hope. Did you know that, John?
I didn't know that, but I can see why, for sure.
Because hope stands for go down into yourself to heal you like nobody else can. Go up in opportunity, come in and be the law of attraction and positivity, and go out. E stands to empower the world. But that's what you do. But this is a quote. Many people know the beginning of this quote, but I had the entire thing inside my locker when I was in high school. And it came to my attention when Jim and I, 5 months ago, I said, we got to go to Greece. We got to do this thing, and be with the Greek, because he is Greek. Okay. And this is the entire quote of Henry David Thoreau. And John, this is you. If one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success in unexpected hours. New, and he will pass through invisible boundaries. Universal, more liberal laws will begin to establish themselves around and within him, or old laws will be expanded, interpreted in his favor in a more liberal sense. He will live with a license with a higher order of beings. And this just came into my spirit that I wanted to share with you. You are that high order of being. You are that man with a plan for the world. John at combattraining.com.
Brain training. Brain training.
Braintraining.com. And go ahead and follow this and watch it again and share it. Go to our YouTube channel, like, subscribe, and share. This is our 480th episode. And guess what? We look like 48. So, John, once again, thank you. Thank you for being a part of this real anniversary for us with our fourth launch of our fourth season with Life's Milkshake Moment, because you are a milkshake, brains and all. So
Thank
as
you
we
so
say,
much.
in every single way, make it a great Health-A-Pedia kind of day. Ciao for now.
Thanks, Jody.
Woman up, pull it together. Where's the tough girl that you let go and get up? Time to get your ass back on track. Wake up, girl, you better. Woman woman up.